Dennis Kitchen. I know I don't want to bore you with it every week. I mention that, but and I know you're out there, Lawrence. I saw the thing on YouTube. I mentioned last week I didn't see him around. That's why, because he's not coming in this week. He's watching us in the back door, out the back door. But this is a great book. This is and from 2022, there's a Stereo World article in here about Dennis Kitchen, and he's interviewed by Lawrence Kaufman. And I just have these around. There's nothing in 3D in this book, okay? But if you want to know a guy who started the comic book defense fund, legal defense fund, and really enabled underground art from the 60s and onward. Great story about how to get things done. So anyway, now I got that one done. Now kids, it's time for the ANAGLYPH jukebox. Take it away, Herb.
Paris in 3D, from stereoscopy to virtual reality, 1850 to 2000, is a 26-year-old book that should be in your 3D library. It's a co-publication with the Musée Carnavalet of Paris. Originally $75, you can now get it on Amazon for $39. It's a massive book, so heavy you can use it as a weapon. It's got an excellent cover lenticular of the Eiffel Tower. It offers a deep history of 3D, describing various techniques of 3D photography from stereoscopy, photo sculpture, and anaglyphs to holograms, 3D computer imagery, and early virtual reality. You'll find a huge array of images here, from portraiture, still lifes, and cityscapes to World Wars I and II, the liberation, colonialism, from erotica to advertising and fine art. The unifying link is the city of Paris as a subject and location. The music is a live performance of Edith Piaf's La Vie en Rose by the incomparable Josephine Baker. Take it away.
Je vais vous chanter une chanson qui a été créée par la chanteuse, de plus grande chanteuse de notre époque, Edith Piaf, dans La Vie en Rose. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours. Ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. Je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui la 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 la. Une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. Il est pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, l'a juré pour la vie. Lorsque je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat.
Thank you again. You know, that makes me miss Stereo Doro even more.
Oh, yes.
Now I really miss Stereo Doro. But yeah, La Vie en Rose, right? What is that? What does it mean? Life in pink. In other words, looking at life through rose-colored glasses, seeing the
Yes.
joy, in life, and not the strife in life, but the joy, because that's your choice. Me, looking through
Johnny,
life through rose-colored glasses, well, rose and cyan glasses in terms of us,
yeah.
but nonetheless, see the joy in life, right? Isn't that what
Well,
it's about?
Johnny Laser, I think you've hit the exact point of the song. It's a choice you make. You can look at life through rose-colored glasses and see the best in people. It's your choice.
Here's to all of us who look at the world through rose and cyan glasses. Should be vodka later on. Now it's some kind of health drink. Anyway, you know how it goes when you get this age. Now, thank you, Joe, for that. Another wonderful time, another wonderful journey. Or shall I say, song through the jukebox. Now it's time for Paul Hutchins' 3D Journeys. Take it away, Herb, if you're cued. Hope I gave you enough time.
This journey takes us to Giverny, south of Paris, which is where Claude Monet had his garden. He and his wife lived there for 43 years, having moved out of Paris in 1883 because of bad debts. He established the lily ponds, which feature in many of his paintings. Monet died there at the age of 86 and is buried in the local church.
Now here we go, Herb. Ah,
Okay, so this is a color photograph showing a leprechaun guarding a kettle of gold coins that comes up to his waist. Behind the kettle is one end of a rainbow that arcs into the sky. The cat is nearby, admiring the gold coins. And that's actually a more verbose prompt than I often have to give. But if I just said something like pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, I got both ends of the rainbow in the same scene. And so Midjourney hasn't been trained on the end of the rainbow, so I had to give a more verbose description.
so how many times did it take to get this? Or was that one prompt make this work?
It took about 3 or 4 tries.
And this is going to be in the book and
This is,
also.
yeah, this is already in the book. And basically, after, I finish talking here, or if somebody else can put the link in the book, link to the book in the chat, or I can do it later. But yeah, all the images I'm going to show today are already in the book, which was updated about a week ago.
And the PDF, if you got the email for the meeting for the show, you'll see there's a link in it. It'll take you to the book. Okay.
So this is a color photograph of a cat dressed as a leprechaun sitting on a toadstool.
And I guess obviously these are coming in 2D and you're converting them. So that my question again was about the same one last week, and I'm is depth of field. It's just generating that depth of field, and that's the 2D version. In other words,
Right, and that should be I think I gave you anaglyph versions of everything. Um so basically yeah, this one's anaglyph.
okay, that one was anaglyph too, right? Wasn't it? Yeah, yeah, got it.
Okay, so basically all of these are generated using Midjourney and then converted to 3D using Owl 3D, which is the same software that is used. Actually, there's a newer version of the software that will be used for the Owl 3D Shift monitor. So the uh, original version of the Owl 3D Shift basically had one function. It converted 2D to 3D. It was intended for using as a batch mode. You could do videos or you could do photos, but it didn't do real-time conversion. The version 2 of the Owl 3D software, which is now available and downloadable for Windows, but not yet for Mac, will actually has 2 modes of operation. The second mode will do real-time conversion and display the result on any monitor capable of displaying half-width side by side and converting it to 3D. So you could do it on a 3D TV, or you could do it on the Owl 3D Shift when it's available. I assume you could do it on some of the laptops that have 3D monitors. But basically, since I'm Mac-based, I haven't been able to play with the new software.
Did you? What was the prompt for this?
Okay, so this is a color photograph of a cat dressed in green holding a handful of shamrocks.
Okay, so you didn't. That is the cutest little face. Boy, this is a relaxing show. I can't get back in the character. This is brutal.
And so
how did it decide that face, man?
well, what you have to understand is that when you use Midjourney, what you're going to get is you're going to get random images. If So if I put in the exact same prompt a second time, I would get different images, even for the exact same prompt, because Midjourney uses a random seed with a range of 1 to 4 billion. Uh, and for every prompt, it will use a different random seed, which will give you different images. Unless
So,
you
right.
you have the option of specifying a specific seed to use. So, for example, if you want to, let's say, vary one word in the prompt, but use the same random seed generator, you can basically say, perform this prompt using this seed and then repeat the same seed for multiple images.
And could you, okay, so then could you tell it, use this seed and change the shamrocks to roses?
Well, you wouldn't say change the shamrocks to roses. What you would do is give a new prompt and you'd say the cat is holding a handful of roses
Using the same seed.
and using the same seed, and it might then generate the same cat face, or it might not, because the fact that it's roses instead of shamrock might change more than just the shamrocks. And
I got you.
and you could certainly experiment with that. I
It's basically,
talk
yeah.
I
Go ahead.
talk in the introduction to the book a little bit about how those random seeds work. And so what I'm trying to do in the book, I mean, I've said this a lot, is provide a lot of information that would be good guidance for anybody who wants to try doing this. So this is the same prompt. Now, every time you put in a prompt, it's going to give you 4 different images. Often you'll get no good images. Often you'll get one. Sometimes, like in this example, I got 2 good images from the same prompt. So I showed both of them.
Interesting. Yeah, that, and that gets me, I always get to this position. I'm not going to do this every week here, but it becomes like, what part of it is you doing it, and what part of it is something you're sad. There's that level of satisfaction that is the result of what the prompt created, right?
Yeah.
Am I satisfied with that? And I know what you do, because I do the same thing when I was working on the albums, on the album covers. I put the prompt in, and I get several versions, and I finally get on one that I think is close enough to what I want. And I guess that's the
So basically, for example, with the first one where we had the pot of gold and the rainbow, um, uh, when I put in that prompt, I only got one image that I even liked. I wasn't entirely satisfied with this image. What I really wanted was for the cat to be staring at the gold coins in the pot. But basically, I could have tried, keep going to maybe get that. But I liked the leprechaun, I liked the pot, I liked the rainbow, and if I had tried other things in the image might have changed. So I said, okay, I'm sufficiently satisfied with the cat, even though it's not exactly what I wanted.
see, that's the caveat. Or the caveat is that when you're doing these, you need to write your prompts down, right?
Well, actually, what happens is when you scroll back through the results, you can click on one of the previous images and it will put the prompt right there for you to see. So, no, you don't have to write them down. You can copy and paste them.
Got it. Okay. And so this guy here, what was the
This,
prompt for this?
this is a color photograph of a cat holding a plate of corned beef and cabbage to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And so, interestingly, I didn't have to say that the cat was wearing green, because when I said he was celebrating St. Patrick's Day, Midjourney just said, okay, I'm going to dress that cat in green.
And the bow tie collar.
And the bow tie collar.
And to me, it was like green eyes. It's hard to tell with the anaglyph, but obviously that seems like it is. Wow.
Hey, if I can interrupt with a question,
Oh,
Yeah,
please.
go.
Herb, I'm really impressed with how well the whiskers and the fine details in the hair, like the ear hair, have been converted to 3D. Is that something? Is Al seeming to improve from your, as you're
I
doing this?
I
It just looks better than past conversions I've seen. It
I
seems to really
think
understand what whiskers are.
I think that Owl has improved. It's still not perfect and probably never will be perfect. But basically, what happens is every time I start up Owl, I just check to see if there's a newer version. And before, I think I was using version 1.65, and now I'm using version 1.85.
Hmm.
And um, so it would be interesting to see if I fed older images through the conversion, whether I would get improvements, and that would be an interesting experiment to try, and I haven't tried that.
Hmm.
So, but good question, Jim.
Somebody had to come up with a good question today. Jim, you win the prize. Thank you. Ah, so this is your second chance at capturing this, but we're not going to wait till the end. Say it, Herb. Let's cue
Well,
the, yeah.
I mean, I'd be curious to know if anybody has some guesses what the cat is hunting for. Maybe if you have any guesses, just put your guesses in the chat. We'll see if there are any good guesses. But
Yeah, yeah.
but
Do don't torture these people.
no, I'm not going to torture them. I'm going to give them a clue. Now, if clue is torture, there's a little clue in the photo of what the cat might be looking for. But anyway,
We'll give them a few minutes to think, and we won't wait till the end. We'll get.
okay, he's hunting for the mouse that ran up the clock.
I'll keep doing that. Oh yes. Wow. Who said that? That was brilliant.
That was Patrick Innes.
Wow, Pat, man. Wow.
Okay. So anyway, what the prompt was, color photograph of a cat searching for the missing hour from spring forward.
That ties right into Patrick, though. That really does. Holy cow, man. The cat, right, went up the clock. It's here. Wow. I wish I was as clever as you, man. That's great. Thank you again, Herb. So I dug back a little, and thank you again, Herb. Every week, you can't give us enough cats, man. You just can't. I am sold on it. I am absolutely sold on it. It's so fantastic and so relaxing. Like I say, I got to break character. So I just enjoy it. It breaks my break character. We're gonna go back a little bit of history. I'm gonna show like a 30-second, or maybe 60 seconds of this. And I'm just gonna show it to you. We have a vast archive because all the meetings, I would say just about 99.9%, unless there was a major disaster, all of our meetings of the New York Stereoscopic Association, we recorded. Whoever was there, wonderful people came through physically. In other words, now we're doing it virtually, but all kinds of guys who were in New York, they came in, they visited us, they did a dog and pony show, as we say. They showed their products. We were using Skype long before. 10 years ago, we were Skyping people into our meetings, because I thought that was a better way to reach a larger crowd audience. And here we are now. So I just quickly went into our archives, which we're going to do over the summer. So you're going to see some interesting stuff when we return. And I'm going to show you this, if at all possible. And I'm not going to explain it until afterwards because here we go. Optimize video clip. I probably won't break anything. Okay, hold on. Doesn't matter. Optimize, schmoptimize. It ain't grabbing, so that's okay by me. I'm gonna hit this little button and we see how where we go. We should go to Manhattan, actually 9th Avenue and between 43rd and 44th. Okay, well that's helpful. Hold on. And now I do that, and I mean,
should do that. And even though I've got
that's strange.
That's synced
we're
up.
sharing now. Oh, there we go. I'll shut up now.
Hi, I'm John Zeligan, President of New York Stereoscopic Association. We're here today to dismantle likely the last 3D projector in New York City. It's a 35 millimeter simplex, which is known as the projectionist projector. This is the over and under filtering system, which generates the 3D effect with the polarizers attached to each other. So the film, of course, when it goes through the gate, it's scrunched. That's why it's called over and under. Half the picture's on top, half the picture's on the bottom. It comes out this little thing here, and basically you eat popcorn and watch a 3D movie. These are around from around the 30s, and then someone came up with an idea of putting this gadget in front. We're going to be dismantling it slowly and carefully.
So we will be showing stuff that we edited down. It hasn't been edited. That's actually shot in 3D, by the way. I just wanted to show you one side of it. Loads of stuff in our archives. Just a tremendous amount of stuff. We'd love to show you guys again, because some of you missed it, and some of you weren't in New York when we were taking that apart. No ticket, raining like unbelievably, and you know how heavy a projector is. That's why I laugh when people say, "Oh, the digital, the touch of film and the beauty of the." Yeah, I know, but you ever carry a film case? And then a projector like that, to get that thing to operate properly, there's chains in there, the chain drives on the gears. It's like one big greasy anvil schlepping that thing down. I had like 5 guys. That thing was like 500 pounds. I didn't think it out that well, but nonetheless, we had it around, and that was Murray Lerner's, actually. That was Murray Lerner's projector at his studio that he would look at dailies and other stuff with. So, and we have Murray too. We have Murray at his home. I digitized Sea Dreams, and Murray goes through every effect and he explains all the effects, how he got them. So we have that in our archives. We've got a lot of stuff in the archives. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna reach over here and do a quick pet peeve thing, right? So I needed batteries for a gadget, right? So it turns out that they're lithium batteries. So I'm going to show you the size of the battery. Right here, here's a battery. I got 2 of them, right? Okay. Come in a box this big, right? With a complete material description. We're called a material product safety data sheets. This is the material, but literally, this is what government intervention does, man. I know it's important not for these things not to put. Look, there's like 5 trees associated with it. But anyway, pet peeve done. The batteries are probably dead too. That would be the next thing. But incredible, man. I once had a FedEx truck, a tractor trailer pull up with a battery this big, because they have to put them in a special vehicle. Literally a tractor trailer, there's a battery that big. So that's when laws go nuts. Thanks again to our amazing crew for making this all possible. Stereo Doro, who we miss, and Jay Kuznets, who we miss. We can't wait to get them both back. Jim Harp, welcome back. Thank you. Hysterical. Jim Harp's captioning this. Can't beat it, man. That's hysterical. And the hysterical guys that come up with those great lines. Joe Pedotto, Paul Hutchins, for taking us and always educating us through 3D, which is the best way to learn. The best way to learn. And last but not least, you for stopping by to see what you've been missing in 3D. See you again next week. Until then, don't be stingy with your whatever. Share your joy, count your blessings,